The guards are like, "Oh my gosh, what do you think? That's
Right.
your boyfriend? Oh my gosh!" And I absolutely love the way he was like, "You're a child," and I was like, "Oh."
Hey, welcome to another episode of Blerd Up, where we talk about all things movies, music, TV, and gaming, all with a blurred twist. We're your host, I'm Killer Cam.
And I'm Oni.
And today we got a movie review, another movie review. So a few weeks ago we reviewed the trailer for The Old Guard, starring Charlize Theron and Kiki Lane. And we finally got a chance to sit down and watch the movie, and I was impressed.
Yeah,
I was
liked
impressed. So figure we'd give a quick rundown of the movie for anyone who might be interested in watching it, has not seen it yet, and just kind of give our thoughts about what we saw.
Yeah.
Before we do that, make sure you drop down, hit that like, subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with this content. Sometimes we do movie reactions where we'll watch the movie at the same time and provide commentary simultaneously. Sometimes we'll just keep it conversational. I think this is going to be one of those conversational times, but we're still going to try to splice some clips in here. Let us know. Drop down in the comments which format do you like better. Again, we do read the comments. We do respond to the comments, so we're open to suggestions. They are encouraged. All right, The Old Guard, Netflix original movie starring Charlize Theron, Kiki Lane, what's his name? Chiwetel
Ejiofor.
Look
I
at
was so
you.
proud of myself. I like how to say his name.
I know him from Doctor Strange. This movie was directed by Gina Bithwood.
I'm not gonna try to pronounce it.
Gina, I'm sorry if we mispronounced
same director
that.
as Love and Basketball, Beyond the Lights, Secret Life of Bees. We love your movies.
Definitely. She's definitely been a driving force in not just female representation, but diversity and inclusion, period. Which is one thing about this movie that really stood out because the cast was so diverse.
Yeah, very much so.
Which plays into the backstory. When you think about what the Old Guard is, it would make sense that they're not all going to be Caucasian.
Yeah,
So.
true.
So jumping into this movie starts off with a very kind of I don't want to call it ominous, but it does set up the story if you're not familiar with any of the works by Greg Rucka. This is based on his writings. Movie starts off, they're on a mission, and all of them get shot the hell up.
Yeah, pretty much. It's more like, at the very, very beginning, it's, Andy... It seems like she's been away from the group from a time, and she comes back to help Coakley out with the job, which is Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. And from there, she joins back up with her old team, and they go on a mission. And yeah, it's a setup, and they all just get like.
Yeah. Which I was very and this is stupid. This is sort of lame of me, but like as somebody that went to school for film, I was very impressed how well they all played dead. Because sometimes when people play dead, they're just kind of like, eyes closed. Charlize's eyes are wide open, but there was nothing behind them. Nothing behind them, which I think speaks to her craft as an actress.
Okay, yeah.
So, the good thing about it, they get shot the hell up.
Yep.
But they get right back up.
And then kill everybody in the room.
Basically, with precision, might I add.
Yeah.
So they figure out this is a setup, and basically now they're on a mission. Well, it's kind of a dual mission. They kind of need to figure out like why this happened, what's this happening for, the who, what, whys of the situation. Yeah,
and it forces them actually to go a little bit underground because, from there they're like being low key, like using cell phones and then throwing away, smashing them,
trying to stay out of the public eye.
Yeah, I think they're traveling by train when they actually have the dream about Nile, which is Kiki's character. And they all realize, oh my gosh, there's another one. We've got to go find her. And Andy's like, yeah, do what y'all got to do. I'll go pick her up and bring her to y'all.
So jumping into that scene, when they introduce us to Nile. Nile, when they introduce us to her, she's in the army or something.
I think she's a Marine.
A Marine?
Yeah.
She's serving, and kind of like a hostage situation kind of pops off, and she's trying to help the guy who's hurt, and he ends up slashing her throat.
Right.
Now, her friend sees all this.
Yeah.
And magically, she just appears back up, no scar
Yeah.
or anything. She's alive, you know. So everybody's kind of like...
Yeah, yeah. Which, you know, is understandable. If you saw somebody get their throat slashed and then the next day you saw them and there's no scar, they're
nothing.
perfectly fine, you know. Of course there's going to be a little bit of like, wait a minute, like what's wrong? But I don't know. I felt like it was I don't know like the backstory in terms of like her and the other girl did, like how long they'd been serving together, their friends or whatever, but just right off the back, her friends and anybody else on the base is just treating her like she's just other. They said, yeah, we don't know you.
So Andy, which again is Charlize Theron's character, goes to scoop up. I think
this is like the best part of the movie, to see them go back and forth. Yeah. And Andy's just like, could you please stop stabbing me? Could you please stop trying to hit me? It's not gonna work. And I love Nile's drive, because no matter how many times Andy says, could you please stop doing this? You're immortal. Shoots her in the head. No matter how many times Andy says this, Nile is still like, okay, you're right. Like, she's like still trying, which is so believable because I would do the same thing.
Oh my gosh. But that was the really good thing that I really enjoyed about this movie, the action sequences. The fight on the plane, dude. Number one, I liked how Andy's style was more... How do I want to say? I don't want to call it traditional, but it is kind of traditional action. And Kiki's style was way more scrappy, like more...
Yeah, because she's a Marine. She's in the military, so that's how she was trained.
She was way more scrappy, but, you know, they was going back and forth, and literally, no joke, guys, I was on the treadmill watching this, and you were driving up as soon as that part came where she tried to block that kick, and her leg broke like Anderson Silva. I literally yelled and almost fell off the treadmill.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the whole neighborhood, he was like, and the whole neighborhood was like, It like echoed. And I was like, what's wrong? I ran up. I was like, what's wrong?
I was like, girl, her leg.
Scared me half to death.
Her leg. But again, like the action sequences in this movie for me is what really made me like it.
Yeah.
But continue with the story. So they end up meeting up with the rest of the group. They're in kind of like, it's not a bunker or whatever. It's just kind of like a safe house or something. And I guess they notice that somebody's there. Yeah,
what happens is, I think Nile has, and this is something very important that I thought would come back later in the film, which it did. So I'm so happy that I saw it. But anyways, Nile has a dream about a woman who's like continuously drowning at the bottom of the ocean. She's an immortal, just like, you know, everybody else in the group. She's continually drowning in the ocean. She wakes up and she tells the dream to everybody. And what is his name? Joe's character, I believe, he's the sexy Jabbar. He's like, that's Quinn that you're talking about. And basically, we get a lot of exposition here, basically.
Which I liked, because remember when we were reviewing the trailer, I was like, okay, that's the Crusades. That looks like the witch trial. So it was kind of filling in some of the gaps that I had from the trailer, talking about the backstory, how they all kind of like got together, and then also just kind of verifying those moments in history that they were present for, which we'll jump into a little bit later.
But basically they were, I guess, it was her and Andy and Quinn together for a really long time, until the moment where, you know, people found out that they were immortal and they were trying to kill them, and eventually Quinn gets, and I hope I'm saying her name right, Quinn. But they get separated, and, you know, Quinn's thrown into the ocean to, you know, drown forever and ever, and Andy never found her. So I think at some point in this movie, Nile gets upset, runs outside, Andy goes after her, tries to talk to her, but during that time, somebody attacks the bunker. And pretty much kills Booker, I think, when we walk in, which I thought was so cool. How they just had him laying there, and his just like
his
guts,
insides are on the outside.
Basically his guts are hanging out, and I'm just like, is he gonna come back from that? that? And
Right.
he was like, Andy keeps is like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I was like, I think he's dead, like dead. But he eventually comes back to life and he starts growing all his organs back. But, Andy's like, I'll take care of this. Y'all get y'all stuff together and wait for the signal. And Andy, in the meantime, while Booker and Nile are getting their stuff together, Andy goes out there and takes care of each and every one of the people who tried to attack them, which is pretty badass.
Precise.
Yeah.
Very precise.
Yeah.
Which then causes a little bit of conflict between her and Nile. Because Nile's like, if this is what this is about, I don't want to do this, and blah, blah. And I'm like, girl. Your throat got slashed. It literally came back together. And homie's guts just got pulled out of his body. He's coming back together.
There's people chasing after you. So basically, the big villain of this movie is a guy named Merrick. He owns, I guess he's supposed to be like the new wavy, like tech company guy, like, doesn't wear a suit.
I looked at him as weak Lex Luthor. That's how I thought of him. It's like he's kind of a...
It's Dudley from Harry Potter. That's how I keep seeing. Like every time he came on
that's true. He is
screen,
from it, yeah.
I keep being like, that's Dudley from Harry Potter. Like, I don't take him seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was meant to be on purpose or not, but I didn't.
Poor guy.
But yeah, he's basically trying to, steal these immortals, put them in his lab, and try to figure out how they are immortal, so he can, sell it. Yeah. Basically, it's all about money in this circumstance.
So basically, what ends up happening, they kind of fall into a trap here. Come to find out, homeboy Booker sold them out, which pissed me off because you know how I am about loyalty. Especially if y'all are this group that's been together for millennia, centuries. Like what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Well, he does say the reason why he did it was because he just wanted to die. Like he's seen, and I think he has this conversation with Nile where he's seen his family, his wife, his sons, grow old and die, and he's so tired of watching that happen, watching the people he loves around him grow old and die, that he just wants to find a way to die himself. So
sell your own self out. You could have went over there willing and did what you had to do. Don't give up the group.
So that's why he gives up the group, because he's hoping Merrick can find out a way to help him die. But yeah, I'm with you. Like do it to yourself. Like, don't drag other people in it. Jeez. Right.
So they getting ready to go in and wreck shop or whatever. Mind you, Andy still doesn't know that he's the one that sold them out. Niles like, come out, deuces. She's going back to the base or whatever.
But very important, before that happens, Andy finds out that she's no longer immortal.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. She finds out that when their bunker was ambushed, she got stabbed in the back and it didn't heal. So she knows going into this situation, going into this building, trying to help her, group out, she might not come back out.
Die. Yeah. So they're in the office or whatever. She gets shot in the stomach. That's not healing either. And that's when Chiwetel's character is like, wait a minute.
Why aren't you healing?
Right?
Yeah.
And she's just kind of looking at them like, I hate you.
Yeah. And it kind of made me angry a little bit because, they shoot Andy. They find out she's not healing. All of a sudden, Booker and Chiwetel Copley, his name's Copley in the movie, is like, oh my gosh, she's not healing, we have to save her. But then after Merrick takes her and basically her away, and I'm sorry, by this time Joe and Nikki have been kidnapped already by Merrick, which is, let me go back a little bit because
let's point this out because this is important.
Yeah, I absolutely positively love their relation. Like Joe, the way like he was in the truck when they're being transported to Merrick's building. The guards are like, oh my gosh, what do you think? That's your boyfriend? Oh my gosh. And I absolutely love the way he was like, you're a child. And I was like, oh. Like the whole speech she gives there, I was like, yep, take that.
Yep. And just the representation factor of the LGBTQ community in this story. Showing, not following the trope of, they're going to be like ultra feminine or whatever, they're not badass. These guys have played this whole group just doing stuff to push their buttons, and then you get to it and they're all like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So again, it goes back to that representation factor that I really enjoyed.
Right, and I really enjoyed I love seeing that. The way the way they were with each other.
Like they had each other's back.
I think that might have been the best part of the movie for me, just to see their relationship and just to see like the way that they talk to each other. I was like, my husband don't even talk to me like that. Can I be talked about by being I've loved this man since the first time? There you go.
Oh gosh.
But anyways, another thing that made me upset in this movie, back to what I was originally talking about. Andy gets taken away by Merrick and his team or whatever back to his, skyscraper building. And Copley's like, wait a minute, you guys, what are you doing? You can't do this, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, dude.
What did you think was
I know,
going to happen?
Why are you not knowing? Like, I thought you knew about all this.
You got that big sociogram thing on the wall. You know what I'm talking about, the strings, the clips.
Yeah, basically he's tracked back through the history as to how Andy has helped, because that's basically what she's kind of feeling at the beginning of the movie. She feels like she's done all these things in her immortal lifetime and she hasn't helped. But Copley actually tracks back to everything that she's done. Either she's actually saved a person who's helped humanity, or she's saved a person who has helped another person within their lifetime, and that person has helped humanity.
Or they're a part of a movement, because if I'm not mistaken, on that board I thought I saw a picture, it looked like Civil War times, and she was in it. So it's kind of like setting up like these people have been behind the scenes crafting the world, trying to make it a better place. And
they actually have. Maybe not directly, but indirectly they have saved somebody who's helped somebody who's helped somebody who's made humanity a better, better place.
That was the piece.
The world a better place.
Yeah, and that was the piece Nile was missing. She didn't have full visibility into that, so she didn't understand why they fought and why they did the things that they do. But she ends up back at the base, and she's taking out her guns, and she realizes this gun is empty, and it clicks for her
Nile. Nile does.
And she's like, "This is a setup." So she rushes back.
See the thing. Another thing. For me, the switch between Nile, because she went from, I don't want to do this, that's not the kind of person I want to be, I want to go back to my life, I want to go back to my family, to all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this gun's empty and he's going to be killed, I got to go do this. To me, that turn, I wish there was more there, so I could have understood the turn a little bit more. It seemed like too quick of a turn to me.
Yeah.
But I still like for her to go back and help him.
you can tell that part of the story. They needed to have a reason for her to go away, so she didn't get caught with the reason. So I get what you're saying, but it was a plot device.
Yeah, basically.
Just to push the story forward. But she suits up.
She does.
She suits up. She confronts Copley. She's like,
where's
playing
Andy?
with them.
Where's my people? Like,
and she was much nicer than I would have been. I would have blew his kneecaps out.
That's the thing I didn't understand, because he was like, "Who are you?" And she pointed to her foot and shot her foot. I was like, "Girl,
don't shoot yourself."
Yeah, I would have shot him in the kneecap. Talking about it don't matter who I am, where are my peoples, But whatever. It does grow back up like she does heal. So.
Oh gosh, but she goes in. He called himself trying to go in with her and help, and she's like, "Nah, I got this.
You're not immortal. You mortal. Give me the gun."
Yeah, so she makes her way in, fights guards, gets everybody freed basically, and again another awesome action sequence. Man, I cannot tell you how smooth the choreography was for this. It was just freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it, and I love the amount of it. Most of the time with action movies, you get a little bit here, a little bit there, but this whole last act of the movie was pretty much action, and it was action that you could see too. It wasn't the shaky cam.
It wasn't like a bunch of stunt people. It was actually the actors performing this.
So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So they end up saving the day basically.
Yeah. I wouldn't have jumped out a window though.
Yeah. That was all she had to do was kick him.
Yeah, kick him out the window. Basically, and now, jumps out a window, takes Merrick with her and kills Merrick, but I would have did a swift kick.
Like for me, knowing there's this immortality thing runs out, that changes my whole mindset of what I'm willing to do.
Yeah.
But they end up meeting up, and then they kind of excommunicate Booker.
Yeah, for what he's done. They basically tell him that they'll meet back in the same spot with him 100 years from now. So he's going to be alone for the next 100 years, and he has to basically deal with that. And we actually see that a little bit in the end credit scene, where he's not dealing with it very well. You know, he's walking into his apartment or whatever, and he drops a bottle of alcohol, which I was like, no,
Right. Never.
I was like, that's expensive. No.
Ever do that.
No. But he's like, you know, drinking, upset. He walks in and he sees Quinn.
Yeah.
You know, and Quinn's like, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I'm gonna ask you this. So during the movie, that piece of information, did you take that as something that was like, she has something to do with this?
I was like, okay, we see Merrick as the villain, but that's a paper villain.
Yeah, right.
I think Quinn is behind all this. So
Right.
I thought that was actually the movie. I thought they were gonna reveal that Quinn was behind this and just trying to get back at Andy or something and stuff like that, but no.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder, is that the purpose of that end credits, to set up kind of like a sequel to push the story forward?
I think so. Yeah. I think there have been talks about Old Guard too.
They should definitely do it. I think that they should do it.
I think that and this is something I would have preferred of this movie. I think it should be a series.
We did actually talk about that, how this could have been a very good like series.
Yeah, because I felt the movie kind of jumped around a lot, and I felt like a lot more things could have been fleshed out, and the best way to have done that would have been a series. So I hope that if they do a sequel onto this, I hope they do it as in a series format instead of a movie.
I think the only thing preventing that was actually actual stars in the movie, because they're all legit actors. So trying to get all of them together in one place to do that might be a little bit difficult. But hey, I'm here for either a series or a sequel. I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too.
The other thing that was funny, so we know Chiwetel Copley, he's got his little board or whatever. They know what he's doing. They kind of like tell him, like, you were a part of this, you kind of started this, so now it's your job to erase our footprint around us to allow us to do what we do. So he's like a Bosley now. He's part of the team. Yeah. So that was cool. On a scale of 1 to 10, Blerd-o-meter, where does it sit for you?
7.
7? I'm going to give it just a little bit, a 7.5.
Okay.
Probably closer to an 8.
Doing 0.5s.
And the reason I give it to it, because again, the action, you know how I am about action scenes. I really enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed those scenes. I was even like with the punching bag, I was like, I want to connect. I ain't say do all of it, but I was like, oh, that was a nice takedown. That was a nice look. That's a nice takedown. She was really up on her Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
You know, I was like, that's a nice transition. She just, I wonder if I could do that. So that's why I rated it a little bit higher, just for the action sequences. Hell, if the story didn't make sense, if the action sequences are up to par, I'm gonna like it. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
So cool. That was our review of The Old Guard, Netflix original.
Overall pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely a worth it. And also, guys, please keep in mind, there ain't nothing coming out in the movies right now.
Right,
Netflix is giving us life right now.
Right, keeping us entertained in this COVID-19 world. So
definitely a good look. But again, that's our episode for today. I'm your host, Killer Cam.
And I'm Monique.
And we'll see you back on another episode of Blerd Up.
Thanks, you guys.